After several denials, the federal government finally accepted that the economy was currently in crisis and severely choked by 4.2 trillion naira debt servicing commitments in the previous year 2021. Welcome to the news. Disclosing this in Abuja, Senate President Dr. Ahmed Lawal said the amount for servicing debt rose from 2.5 trillion naira in 2019 to 4.2 trillion naira in 2021, while the contribution of the major revenue generating agencies to consolidated revenue accounts in 2020 was about 8 trillion naira. He made this stunning revelation in a goodwill message at the 40th anniversary of Chartered Institute of Taxation, CITN. He said, and I read, "Last year it got to 11.93 trillion naira. And today, we have almost half a trillion deficit of expenditure in terms of infrastructure delivery. Invariably, the economic problem in this country cannot happen without the active operation and collaboration of especially groups like the CITN and other professional bodies," he said. He was represented at the event by his special advisor on economic matters, Professor Nazif Abdullahi Dama, who explained that Nigeria's economy was a growing one with a population of over 200 million and 3% growth rate. This implies that every year 6 million people are added to the nation. On a daily basis, 26,000 babies are born. These demographic indicators are real challenges of providing quality social service welfare for its citizens, he said. On his part, Vice President Yemi Oshibajo lamented that Nigeria's tax to gross domestic product (GDP) ratio was the lowest in the world, while its comparators are in the neighborhood of about 15% to 25%. This, he noted, was symptomatic of undue reliance on oil revenue as a result of fiscal imbalances in the nation's financial landscape. The Vice President was represented by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, while Ahmed was also represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Malam Ahmed Aliyu. She said tax collection has improved to the extent that FIRS exceeded its target for 2021 with 6.450 trillion naira from both oil and non-oil revenue. The CITN president, Mr. Adeshina Adedayo, in his remarks said the government needed to have facts to guide it in executing the national development plans. According to him, we need to have facts to guide us in our national development plans. This is very crucial. You cannot be planning in abeyance and talk about picking figures and playing games with it. So this is the news coming from the federal government, and I must say it is not a good news. It's like the whole phrase, the whole sentence actually captures, let's say, the performance of this present administration in the last 8 years. This administration barely has about 16 months to exit after 2 terms. So for the federal government to come out to admit to us, after several denials, that our economy in Nigeria is in red is definitely not what we are expecting. It's not a good one. And it's not quite surprising because at the tone of everything, we've always been about borrowing, and more borrowing. And a country is heavily dependent on imported goods and even services, as in the case of the China developers who have taken charge over major things in our country. So it's not quite surprising that this is happening, and it's not good news for Nigeria because it's like the federal government bringing out the scorecard to say this is how far we can go. So is there any solution? Is there any way forward? In the remaining 16 months of intensive campaign and preparation and electioneering, after 7 full years of, I don't know what name to call it. What is our country getting to? Our basic infrastructures are not the way they should be. schools, that means in terms of education, in terms of health, we are not where we were even in 2015 when this present administration took over. So over to the people at the top, over to the people on the street, for us to decide what next. The economy is in red. What do we do? Is it now a case of survival of the fittest? Or is it a case of, okay, maybe a new crop of politicians who will have the heart to do the right thing, to focus on what is important, and at least give the poor Nigerian on the streets hope of a better future? Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next news. Bye for now.